I don't know if we cared if it was Arkansas or Kansas. We just wanted to make sure that St. John's and Rick Pitino were playing another Hall of Fame coach and another high-profile program in the second round matchup. But it is John Calipari in Arkansas, and that adds a nice little extra storyline to this game, especially when John Calipari would not say Rick Pitino's name in the media availability the day before on Wednesday. Just a
Ooh,
little
should I
little little something there.
should I break
Should
out
I
my Patino impersonation? I haven't done a Patino voice in a while.
I would love to hear your Patino impersonation.
Well, I've got a lot of respect for John. I think he's got them playing good basketball at Arkansas, and we may have had our differences in the past. We are always united by Camelot, by the Bluegrass State. All of that goes out the window tomorrow when my St. John's basketball team takes on the Razorbacks.
I thought the content was great. I thought you sounded like Matt Damon.
Got to get back to the lab. Sorry, I apologize. I apologize, St. John's fans. My New York accent's a little bit rusty. If St. John's keeps dancing, you will see a better effort for me going forward. I came out a little jittery, much like your Red Storm did in the first half, sounding more like a Boston accent as opposed to New York. That's a little bit like letting Marquel Sutton down the lane for an open dunk. But we will make adjustments and we will be back at it. This should be a good game, Ralph.
It
This
really
should
it
be a
really
good game.
should be. It really should be.
A lot of athletes, a lot of length up and down the court.
Yeah, and two teams that like to attack the paint, two teams like to get after it. We saw Arkansas raise the defensive intensity late in that game against Kansas. We'll start with Arkansas. If they're going to pull the upset, what's what has to happen? What's the game plan look like for you? If you are John Calipari, what are you trying to do to pull this off?
On one hand, I'm thinking like I probably want to try to get Jonas Adu some more touches to see if he can build off of those shots he was making against Kansas. At the same time, you don't want to lean too much into that because of like how effectively St. John's is at limiting your efficiency in the paint. You know, you want to see if you can make the bigs a little bit uncomfortable, knocking down those 15 footers. I thought like Adu was so good at knocking down hook shots over their bigs. I think that part is replicable if he's matched up with Zuby Ejiofor. I just don't want. I wouldn't want to run it too much through him, but I think you at least want to try to get some of those looks closer to the basket to maybe open it up for your guards who aren't the best shooters but can knock them down when left open. And you know, I think Jonell Davis was someone we barely even hit on in the
Yeah.
Kansas and Arkansas recap. Like Final Four experience, maybe he hits another level. Like once the calendar turns to March. But he and Boogie Flam would probably be the two I'm penciling in more for like who can make a difference in the guard room. I would say what we saw at DJ Wagner against Kansas was sort of par for the course with his career, where he looked really good in spurts in the first half, had a pretty quiet second half. He's a bit of a wild card. You're going to get some good, some bad. But I think Flan, to me, it's crazy. When we talked about this Kansas game initially, I was like, do you want to bring Flan back in? Is that going to disrupt it? But I just think the effort that he brought defensively, like
Yeah.
that's going to keep him on the court. That's going to earn him minutes. And he by far has the most upside of any of the guards offensively that like I will be looking to get him more comfortable, see if I can get him working in conjunction with John L. Davis to provide that floor stretching. Because, like, I mean, to beat this St. John's team, which only one team has done it this calendar year, and they did it by hitting 11 threes. You got to knock down the long ball. I mean, I even go to if you go back to that game where Eric Dixon shot 5 for 17 against them, and they still were able to win because they hit that many threes.
I love that Kyle Neptune was that team, by
Rest
the
in
way.
peace. Rest in peace, Kyle.
Yeah, I think we saw in the Kansas game, John L. Davis made all the big plays on both ends of the court in that game. When Arkansas needed a bucket, he hit a three. And then late in the game, in particular, when I believe Arkansas was up two or four, and Kansas needed a bucket, they tried to throw it very quickly at Hunter Dickinson, tried to force it, and Davis read it, was right there, got it, went the other way, and that was essentially it. His defense and Boogie Flan's defense late in that game took Kansas out of rhythm. Like their on ball pressure was phenomenal. John L reading passing lanes was phenomenal. There's got to be more of that.
I'm with you.
If I think if Ejiofor gets in foul trouble because of Adu and in Brazil. I think that's a really really good sign. Be interested to see if Isic gets a little bit more PT in this game to try and take Etchafor away from the basket. I think that'd be something I try to employ. But I think it's gonna come down to hitting some threes, and I don't know if you have to win the battle in the backcourt because Kadari Richmond and RJ Lewis are really bleeping good. But I think you have to come close.
Hmm.
If Boogie Flan and John L.
Oh
Davis play
man.
well, I think you're feeling pretty good for the Razorbacks.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna win that guard room matchup when you really lay it out that specifically. If you're going like which group do you want to have the ball in their
Yeah,
hands with the
I
game
don't
on the
I
line?
don't think they're going to win that either, but it can't be so one-sided where,
Yeah,
they're doubling you up in points
right.
along with their defense and rebounding. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Yeah, the more we hash this out, the more I'm like, I believe in Boogie long term. I like how John L played, but I just think it's going to be really tough for them to even be maybe not to keep within striking distance with those guards, but it'd be one thing if it was just that. It's even factoring like the turnover numbers and how much St. John's is going to take you out of rhythm. I
Mhm.
mean, Arkansas hasn't had a game where they've had single digit turnovers since February 12th against LSU. That's alarming to me. That I think is where
Yeah.
it's
I mean,
like
if you're St. John's, you're trying to take full advantage of that.
hmm That's where I think that it's even maybe even less so than like who can go get you a bucket in the clutch. It's like I mean, if even you could say that like let's if Kadari Richmond or RJ Lewis turns it over, they have a chance to get it right back because they're such elite defenders and that this whole infrastructure exists to make you uncomfortable. Whereas Arkansas, if those guards can't like match some scoring production and they start having turnover issues, I feel like it could get ugly pretty quick.
Yeah. The good news, if you're trying to handle St. John's pressure, you want multiple ball handlers.
Hmm.
So I think we'll see a lot of Boogie and DJ Wagner on the court together.
Hmm.
Probably need to do that. From St. John's perspective, is it play your game because you're the better team.
Right.
Arkansas does turn it over, as you mentioned, and that's what you love to do. You're shooting the ball a little bit better, particularly since Aaron Scott's been playing more minutes and Simeon Welch has been playing more minutes. Is it just let's play our game, or is there anything in particular you're trying to focus on or attack or tweak for Arkansas?
So I'm probably trying to slow the game down. I think really don't trust this Arkansas offense scoring in the half court, especially against St. John's for all the reasons we listed out. That's that comes back to like you want to get Jonas Adu some touches to at least pull these bigs away from the basket a little bit, or see if you can get him in one-on-one situations. Then you got to have some 3-point makes to keep the defense from just like being able to pack everything in the paint. Additionally to that, like if you slow it down and keep Arkansas out of transition, that takes away like when they look most comfortable and when they're really able to let their athletes shine and could really like muddy the game up and have no issue winning the game in the 60s if you got to do it like that. Yeah, and in addition to that, I think these St. John's role players have been coming along really strongly as well. Like Simeon Wilcher, I know you just mentioned him. He's someone who I think has had some really nice performances down the stretch, and it's just nice to have multiple guards. It's nice to have multiple guards who you can call their number and trust that they'll get something done.
Mm-hmm. If
It's like
you're,
whether. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say, sorry. If you're Rick Pitino, do you go zone?
Yes. 100%. Especially if this man's not saying my name. Yeah, enjoy me cooking up some sort of zone that like I am like it's the Patino press. You're telling me he can't cook up some crazy high pressure zones that make you uncomfortable and just like stunt on you and laugh at you when you can't figure it out. Like, yeah, of course he's gonna do that.
Yeah, he's got to, right? Throw some 1-3-1 and 2-3 out there with how they struggled with it against Kansas. You have to. You have to.
I want to see multiple looks. I want to see Rick inventing new zones this game.
I'm gonna laugh if he like breaks out the Greg Campy Oakland like amoeba.
That it would they the create like Ralph, they don't even have to do that. I just because this defense is good enough to beat you by just playing their game. They've done
Yeah,
it
absolutely.
once again, they've done it to everybody but Kyle Neptune this calendar year. I just want to see him do it for the pettiness.
Exactly. I mean, there's this is Rick Pitino and John Calipari. There's flair involved in what they do.
This
There's
that I think the coaching, like, we need some sort of theatrics. I hope it culminates with like, I need like a good Italian, we used to coach at Kentucky. We're bonded through that type of hug at the end. I need, like, I want the pettiness, but I want some like melodramatic emotional moment where they hug and one of them cries and the presser's talking about how much the other has influenced them, or in some capacity like that. That would make
how,
me happy.
I wonder if Cal feels some kind of way that Pitino became the Kentucky coach again when Mark Pope got hired to replace him.
That's actually a really good point, that he's like, because he was the one who was advocating for Pope this offseason when he was doing. See, this was, if you had asked me to do my Patino impersonation this offseason when we were getting those great like videos that he's just posting on Twitter of him talking about how great Mark Pope is, you would have seen me a little more locked in. But yeah, that's like that probably could be fueling some of this beef. Is maybe he felt like Patino left him out to dry and then just rushed immediately to go support Mark Pope when he got hired.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot here, and it probably goes back also to Louisville, Kentucky days.
Yeah, it's
You know,
fair.
that
It's
too.
fair.
Uh, there is a lot there to unpack. It should be a lot of fun. Who do you think wins this game?
St. John's without even thinking about it. I know Kim Palm has him favored by 6. What we just, I mean, maybe if you squint hard enough, you see that like teams ranked similar to Arkansas gave them a good game, like Creighton, like Marquette. This just feels different. I trust the team that's been so consistently winning throughout the year, that has a formula that works in March, and defense. Like defense, truly, that's what's
Mhm.
the culprit for most deep runs. That's one thing that doesn't go cold. You don't forget how to defend in high pressure situations.
Right.
Like, I'm just leaning on the team that's been really consistent all year. Um, I like that Arkansas can match their size in the front court some with Brazil and Adu. I like the way those two have been playing together. I know Arkansas fans don't seem to like Big Z, but I like what you said too. I think Adu and Big Z could work together in stretches and might
Yeah.
might throw an interesting wrinkle. But yeah, I think what it just comes down to is like one team has been super consistent. One team was 9-6 over their over their final 15 conference games, and that felt like an accomplishment. Like that's alarming to me. It's like St. John's is a no-brainer here.
I'm going to take St. John's as well. I don't know if it's a blowout. To me, this feels like the kind of game where St. John's consistently keeps Arkansas far enough away to where you feel like you can watch another game that's on. But St. John, Arkansas also keeps it close enough where like a bucket or two makes you feel like they're threatening, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's just because this is the way the Arkansas Kansas game made me feel, but I think we're going to have that point where the game ends and we're kind of like sad that Arkansas couldn't capitalize on more.
Mm-hmm. That feels very like an apt description. I mean, at least their fans will be able to hang their hats on getting a single tournament win and like kind of, showing Cal can at least get you that. But of course, they want to see more than that, and build on that beyond this year. But yeah, it's tough matchup, tough draw to run into this team. But again, that's why you don't start out 0-5 in conference play and then have to really rally the troops to go 9-6.
That's okay. We'll know how this game goes by how quickly Arkansas is bringing up the recruiting class that they have coming in.
Well said.
It is March, and that means that March Madness is upon us. And if you are looking for a place to play, Underdog Fantasy has you covered. Sign up and deposit using code SLEEPERS, that's code SLEEPERS, to receive up to $1,000 in bonus credit plus a free pick. Head over to Underdog Fantasy today and use promo code SLEEPERS to take advantage of this amazing offer.